UPSL Club Focus, the strongest Atlanta.
Well, hello everyone. This is Andre Bomar with ASMG, and I'm pleased to have with us today the owner and operator of Club the Strongest Atlanta, Hector Sandoval. Hector, Coach, I appreciate you taking time out to talk to us today. How are you doing today?
Doing great, and always a pleasure to be talking to you guys.
All right. Well, I mean, it's a special interest I have with talking with you today because your club has got a unique situation when it comes to being in the UPSL, but also the pedigree that where you come from. Could you give us a kind of a rundown of about the strongest? I know that a lot of people here locally in the UPSL in Georgia, when they saw the name the strongest, some were not really that familiar with that name, and it's an unusual name here. Can you kind of run down the history of your club here in Atlanta, but also its relationship to the club in Bolivia?
No problem. Well, both of my sons have been playing soccer in the United States. They were born here. I'm Bolivian, and I've been here for about 30 years. So, we've gone through pretty much every youth club available. And then eventually one of them went to college. The other one started playing higher level, a couple of UPSL teams that opened up when you guys just got to Georgia. And, just watching the soccer in Georgia and so on and so forth, my youngest son decided and asked me if it would be okay to put a team together that they had, very good friends that play very well, very high level. And, we decided to put the team together. Now we were struggling to give it a name and just place a team in a tournament or in a league. And, this is where our pedigree, like you said, comes. The strongest is one, if not the biggest club in Bolivia, La Paz, Bolivia. It's been a club since 1908. 12 people founded the club. Among those 12, my great grandfather, which has my same last name, Hector Sandoval. So, gathering that, I mentioned to my sons, hey, let's call it the strongest, because I had one of my brothers bring me a set of 16, 18 uniforms from Bolivia, not too long before. And I said, and we'll use the uniforms we have. We said, okay, let's do it. So we went and played at the Silverbacks at one of those, Spanish tournaments. And it just so happened that the one of the guys from local Spanish newspaper, Estadio, was there and decided to interview us because, again, the name was unusual. And, so we had a conversation with him. We explained to him that the name comes from Bolivia. It's a club in Bolivia. I explained my links to them. And within hours, it went viral in Bolivia to the point where my father called me, my uncles called me, and they're like, we're getting calls from the club. The president of the club wants to talk to you. At first I was like, okay, this could be good. This could be
wrong?
not good. It could go either way. So I decided to, call the guy and we spoke and, pretty much gave him the rundown of the family connection, so on and so forth. And he come back at me saying, I have reviewed, and yes, your grandfather is in the founding room in our club. We're proud to know that you're taking this opportunity to create a club. So immediately it was a well response to us. So we decided, and we were giving the link to the club for using the name and creating whatever we can to better soccer in Bolivia, bring players here if possible, send players there if possible. And, we started working with each other, putting together this adventure that for us was Club the Strongest Atlanta. And
Wow.
At this point, we had many conversations, phone conversations, Zoom conversations with the club, and they decided to help us and guide us as how we need to run the club, because the strongest has a very particular way of playing. And if you're Bolivian and you're listening to this, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. We call it garra, which is, a tiger. When the tiger snaps at you and just scratches the hell out of you, you get hurt. You need to kill that tiger or else he will kill you. And that's what that club mentality has been from the beginning. It's a team that doesn't give up. It's a team that could be 3-4 down in the first half and turn it around and win the game. Andre, you've seen that with us. And that's what I've been transmitting to our players all along. We are that type of team. So it's a special style of soccer that we have, and that is known in Bolivia and in South America, that's how the strongest plays. So the strongest Bolivia wants us to have the same mentality, the same system, the same operating way. It has to be a special player to play in our team. That's why we're choosing very carefully who we use. And last season to us was a tryout to see what players work, what players don't work. This new season is starting much better, and now we're getting help from down there. One of the coaches that coached second divisions there in many other countries also, he was coach for first division and so on, is hopefully coming in August to run our first team in our academies, because again, we're using the system. That's what we call it. We're using the strongest system that is going to better our soccer. And, that's about the run out of how strongest came to be now. Now, the name, I'm assuming among those 12 guys that created the strongest in Bolivia, one of them was either English or American, and they decided to be the strongest, as the word knows. But see, in my country, they don't even pronounce it like that. And they use the tiger and the colors, yellow and black, as our mascot. And everybody in South America and Bolivia knows us as Tigers. So when we refer to our team in Bolivia here, Tigers. We're the Tigers. So even the chants and the people in the stadium will always chant Tiger, Tiger, And so that's who we are. We're the Tigers, and the strongest Tigers.
Man, that's an incredible story. And I kind of want to roll back to when you first came into the UPSL. You formed the team here. You decided to go with that name because of the family connection. That first year in Division One, of course, when you come into the UPSL, you have to start at the Division One, which is a second tier. And you did really, really well, came within a hair's width of actually winning Division One in your first season, but you did get promoted. And then what was your impression that season, that first season? Was it what you expected, or did you find it surprising, the competition? What was that like for your players and for your coaches?
We were coming from a very disorganized Sunday league. Although it was a disorganized Sunday league, it was very competitive teams playing. So, first of all, the first impression I had is finally we were in a league that has a structure and that takes it serious and is going somewhere. It's not just about going playing and winning money. We were winning status. We were winning, people to recognize us, which was very big for us. So, to us coming into the UPSL was really relieving to know that finally we have somewhere to go where we can look to the future and promote and maybe put players in professional leagues and so on. So to us, it was amazing to be able to find you guys.
Right. And it was amazing to see. I heard from some of your opponents that you were the toughest team that they had played, that season, which is a testament to even hitting from the ground up. You guys are already competitive, a tough team to play. And then you got into this season, this past spring season for 2022. You were in the Premier Division. A little bit more of a struggle here, but there were things that changed, weren't they, that you took on? And can you kind of explain that part?
Sure. Yeah, once we were promoted to Premier, obviously the level of soccer was very, very, very harder. Uh, we got to play with teams that practice 5 days a week, KSA, uh, teams that have very good players in their ranks, Georgia FCs, uh, Limeños, and it made us realize that we needed a lot more structure in the team. We needed to take it a lot more serious. And of course, you have those players that don't want to practice. They're the star of the team. They want to just come to play. Uh, that was just not working for us. So we decided that to make this a real club, a real team, it had to be an investment from the player to the club to the player. Only players that come and practice and take it serious will stay. So literally we started kind of looking for that type of player. I don't care if you're a star and if you can take everybody on the field. If you don't come to practice and you don't show up to the important games, then you're just not my player. And we had to make that big switch. And of course, making the big switch, it put us on a, our skill level was a little less than what we needed for Premier. So we started kind of falling, but still we held it and not got demoted. So, we now have the idea, the system, and the players to go to our next second season in Premier and make a good impression.
Right, right. Yeah, I noticed that there was that adjustment. You did stay in the Premier Division by the end of the season, but you did just miss you missed the playoffs. But like you say, it was almost, from your description, it was like a starting over in a sense with everything that you saw. It's amazing to see the development of your club from this past season now in the cup, in the regional cup. And look, I'm sure that people are going to be looking forward to watching you play in this fall season. And to your point, when I came upon the UPSL, that was the thing that impressed me about the different styles of play that you'll see depending on the team. This past season we had Elephants and KSA, Kalanji Pro Profile, have that African flair in their play. Laminio, coming from the Hispanic background, they had a certain type of play. Then you had Rovers, more of an American touch, to a very, very physical, very strong, fast. And so you're seeing a mixture of styles, which makes it really interesting. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the strongest when you bring that Bolivian flavor into this division. And like you say, you're ready to go now. And so far, with 2 games in the group stage of the regional cup, it's paying dividends already. So I'm sure that there are going to be a lot of people and a lot of eyes on it. And that brings me to my last question here, about the season coming up. You mentioned the relationship you have with the team, the senior team in Bolivia, the strongest there. How interested are they in what you're doing here in Atlanta? Are they aware of the week to week results, and do they give you advice, or what's that relationship like, if you can tell us?
Yes, we have a very tight communication with trainers of the second division players. First division, they play Copa Libertadores, they play the local tournament. Their minds are in a different spot. But the second division coaches, we have a lot of communication, because the main idea for us is to be able to develop some of the Bolivian players here and hopefully try to get American players there. So yes, we have conversations every 2 weeks, every week. Now that the season is going to start, it's probably going to be weekly. They watch the streaming of the games. They give ideas. They give, point out mistakes, point out players that they're liking their style, and so on and so forth. and they're also trying to figure out with us what players from the reserves down there will suit us for. We're hoping to bring players 2023. So
Wow. Really nice.
that's where we need to work. And again, to be able to bring players, we gotta be set with apartments and transportation. We gotta feed them. So we have to put all that in place, and that's more of the economic part of it, money wise. But right now, that is the relationship. We have conversations with them periodically. They're involved in watching the system that we work, and the idea, the big picture is players from here to Bolivia, from Bolivia to here, and try to develop them into professional. Professional is what everybody wants. All these kids want, and Bolivians think that if they come here, they could be watched for MLS and take their next step. And once they're in MLS, be able to come back home and play in the first team. For us, is our players to go down to Bolivia and experience first division down there, and come back and know what it is to play in a different country. So the dream is there, and the work is still hard and long, but we're doing it, and we're not going to stop.
That's definitely, you're providing definitely a pathway for these players, and that's commendable. It's been great to talk to you about the history of your club and your plans for the fall. When we have you back on on a future episode, I do want to talk to you more about the academy structure, the younger players that can come up through the system, and also the involvement of local business people and local businesses in general that can help clubs like yours, set that foundation to allow players to come in and to stay and have that relationship that can help not only the club, but the individual players. So those are all things that are important for a pro development team. So I look forward to expanding on that in a future interview we can have with you.
Perfect.
All right.
Anytime. I mean, that's what we're trying to shoot for. Academies, our second division being our reserves to be in the UPSL, also our academy. And all of a sudden, my sons right now are starting to connect with a lot of colleges that want to scrimmage us and want to play us, watch our players. And so I'm seeing 5 years from now, we're going to have colleges involved. We're going to have professional in Bolivia involved. We're going to have a few representatives that take players different places. So the dream is big, Andre. It's really big.
All right. Well, you have a good rest of your day, and we look forward to seeing you both on the pitch and again here back on the ASMG podcast.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for taking this time for us.
All right. Take care now.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been a UPSL Club Focus segment by ASMG.